So just a quick round of introductions to start with. My name's Andrew Norrie, I'm the Commercial Director at 3D Repo, and I'll be taking you through the introduction and helping to answer some of the questions at the end. The main portion of the presentation will be a live demonstration by our product manager, Pavel. He'll be looking at the platform in general, showing you some of the features and talking about some of the benefits and how you might utilize them on your current projects. So to give a bit of an introduction, 3D Repo, we call it a digital construction platform. The idea of it is to help people manage and share data in a BIM environment. Why do we do this? The first reason the company was founded was that we found BIM software was far too complex. So we have a lot of softwares out there these days: Revit, Navisworks, ArchiCAD, MicroStation. All of these are very complex bits of software that if you know how to use them, they're great. But in general, we've got a lot more people in the construction industry who don't know how to use these tools, but the data that they create needs to be shared better. So what we want to do is create an easy to use platform where anyone can access this type of data and easily share it amongst the whole project team. The other problem is that interoperability is very difficult. So with all these different platforms going from concept design all the way through to in use and asset management, there's a lot of data that needs to exchange hands and flow through the project lifecycle. We wanted a platform that could be able to do that and bring together all these different formats. And finally, the files and data sets that we're creating are very big, so sending them as files over FTP doesn't really make much sense anymore. So we wanted to create a platform that was a bit more nimble, a bit more agile in the way that it handled data. So our vision is to remove the barriers to collaboration and help you guys create a better built environment. The company was founded in 2014 out of doctoral research by our founder at UCL. What we created is a BIM integration hub, and the idea is that we take BIM models, no matter what format they're in, and put them into a database. This means that they're very searchable, and we can do a lot of cool things with optimizing that data as well. Our clients come from a mixture of backgrounds, tend to be either multidisciplinary consultancies or contractor, developer or client type organizations. And our projects really are a range of everything from buildings to infrastructure, civils. It really doesn't matter. Anything that uses a 3D BIM model or a 3D model is suitable for it to be a 3D Repo project. And because of that, our customers come across all different types, so do our users. So the users might not always be the customers. Our customers tend to invite their whole supply chain into their 3D Repo environment. So therefore our users can be consultants, contractors, or the owner, developers as well. The platform itself consists of three main parts. One is the BIM collaboration platform, which is where we bring together models, federate them, and run the kind of visual analysis like clash detection and model differencing. The heart of that is an issue tracker, which is what Pavel will be showing today. But as well as that, we can also do some stuff around model validation and data checking. On the data side, we can also hook up via our API to various platforms that we call BIM Forensics collectively. There's three parts to this, and I'll come back to it in a bit. And finally, anything that you load into the 3D Repo environment can also be loaded into virtual reality and viewed through any of the standard headsets such as HTC Vive or Oculus. Supported formats, we started off around open formats like IFC. Last year we implemented a Navisworks plugin, and more recently we've developed direct support for Autodesk Revit and Bentley MicroStation file formats. So the RVT and .dgm files can be uploaded directly to 3D Repo or via our API if you want to link up to any of your common data environment or document management systems. So this is what the project platform looks like once you log in. This is one of our projects at Wharf by Canary Wharf Contractors. One of the things you can do if you geolocate your projects is turn on a mapping service. So out of the box, 3D Repo comes with OpenStreetMaps data, but you can also hook up the Here Maps platform as well if you want to get kind of the live traffic information, satellite imagery, that sort of thing. But that's a separate paid platform, which you have to give us the API key that you use. So Wharf and Canary Wharf use this platform mainly around issue tracking and collaboration. So everyone on the project has access to the models, can come in, run any analysis on, create tasks, create issues, and everything's kind of tracked in one single place as to what's going on with the coordination of the project. The first kind of feature or benefit that we want to talk about today is the model management and federation of models. So 3D Repo acts as a revision control system. So you upload revisions to model containers, and each one of those model containers is linked to a federation. The advantage of this is that your federation is automatically updated every time you get any new information come into the platform. So if project partner 1 uploads a new model to model container 1, it'll automatically update the federation, and anyone who's got access to that data will always have access to the latest information. There's no worrying about version types or who's got to go in and create the new federation of the latest version of the information. As I said before, at the heart of the platform is an issue tracker, so you can create your own issues in there, or you can import them and export them via the BCF format if you're using other kind of model checking or data validation tools such as Celibri or Navisworks. You can exchange data in that way. It will create PDF reports for you of all those issues, which are filterable, and you can then send those out in a PDF format or with the links back to 3D Repo as well. And finally, you can link up that issue tracker to Power BI, either by exporting the data directly to it or by creating a live link through the API that will mean that your Power BI templates will automatically update every time anything changes in the platform. Another feature of the platform is what we call smart groups. So this is where we can create groups of objects based on metadata queries. So you can set up rules at the beginning of your project saying that you want to, for instance, create a group of all the objects on level 1 that don't have a fire rating or something. That will create a group of objects, and every time the revision gets uploaded, that group will update. So the main use case that we see for this is around data validation and checking levels of information. So at the start of the project, if you have an EIR from your client saying that certain points of information should be available at certain stages for each element type, we can build up groups based on those rules and be able to automatically check them. Again, that can all be linked out to Power BI, so you can have live reports every time a new version's uploaded to the system. This is the smart groups in action. This is probably what Pav will be showing you later, so I won't sit here and bore you with the whole video. These slides will be available to everyone afterwards as well, so yeah, let us know and we'll send you out a link to this, and all the videos will be embedded. It's completely web-based. Another feature of the platform is what we call instant clash detection. So this is where we can clash detect between different groups of objects or different models to see where they collide with each other. So if we zoom in, it shows in red where those models are colliding between the MEP and the structures in this case. And we can create issues and assign those to people. So here we're probably going to assign this to the MEP engineer and ask him to move this light. And then once a new revision is uploaded, you can run this check again and you'll see that there will no longer be a clash there. So the advantage of this over traditional class systems is that we give the actual intersection view, so you can see exactly where the two elements collide. We're not just highlighting the elements like you would get in other solutions running the same sort of clash detection. You get a bit more of an abstract view of what's going on, so unless you know exactly how this works, it can be a bit harder to identify where the actual issues are. We also have change detection, which is kind of the inverse of what I was just talking about. So if we have two different versions of a model, we can load them in together and see what the differences are. So here we've got two revisions of a rebar model, and we flick between the two versions and we can see what's changed. And then in the compare version, it will show you in red what's been added and in green what's been deleted. The advantage of this system over any other as well is that we can compare different file types. So this could be a Revit file versus an IFC to see if there's been any change or loss in translation, as well as just actual design changes. Yeah, so 3D Diff works by volumetrically showing what the changes are. So we've got two different versions of the model here. And if we do a 3D Diff, this is what we get. So in green, we can see the volumes that have been added. In red, we can see the things that have been deleted. If you use other diffing solutions, this is the type of stuff you get because they work based on the actual GUID IDs of the objects and don't understand when there's been two changes in one object. It can get a bit messy. They also highlight the whole of the object, not just the changed parts, so you can get a bit of a skewed view of what's actually changed in the project. There's a full notification center, so everyone in the project gets notified when something happens that affects them, whether that be a new version of a model that they're looking at gets uploaded, or an issue or a risk gets assigned to them. Talking of risks, we have a risk management system built in as well. So SafetiBase was developed last year in conjunction with other companies such as Atkins, Mott McDonald's, Balfour Beatty, HS2, Tideways. I'm probably going to forget a load more. But the idea of this is to create a PAS 1192 Part 6 compliant tool for managing health and safety issues and risks on a project. So the idea is that it makes it more a collaborative process. You can come in, we can identify a risk, give it a risk likelihood, risk consequence, and level of risk is automatically calculated based on the standard. And then as you add mitigations, all of that is tracked, and you can lower the risk and give a residual risk. The key point to it all is that we're keeping it all in a central place, and it timestamps every change with who did it and what time they did it. So there's a real audit trail behind each risk, so we can be sure that we're tracking all of that. I spoke about BIM Forensics earlier, so just to put a bit more information into that. So the first part of BIM Forensics that we use is Node-RED. So Node-RED is an open source platform, mainly for IoT information. We use it for IoT information and for automating tasks within 3D Repo, so it links to our API. You can download this if you search Node-RED. It's developed by IBM originally. The other part to it is Power BI. So you can link up Power BI either via the API again, or you can just export the information either from issues, risks, or the smart groups, and they'll feed into templates. There's templates already set up. If you go to our website and look up the BIM Forensics section, you'll find them all there, free to download, free to use. And finally, we link in with Dynamo to send information back to Autodesk products. So if you've created issues or risks within 3D Repo, they can be sent back through Dynamo to Revit, placed on the drawing sheets, that sort of thing. So just looking at 3D Repo under the hood, what we do is we take the BIM model, we break it down into a database at object level. Then we optimize that geometry, and that's what we create a Unity game, which is what you see in the web browser when Pavel shows you later. The interesting thing is that to get BIM information, then we go back to the database. If you click on an element, you want any information about it, it retrieves it on the fly. So the more interesting thing that we're looking at for more of the operation stage is how we redirect that to look at other data sources such as Maximo and any asset registers that you might have, so that once you're in use, you can look at other data sets as well to do with that object within the BIM model. Import and export data we've pretty much covered around the different file types. The Navisworks is through an add-on that's available through the Autodesk App Store that's completely free. And then out the back, you can export any of the data as JSON format or as BCFs and PDF reports. 3D Repo is a platform, so there's a full open API. It's fully documented. You can find that through our website or on our GitHub page. The idea of this is that people can integrate 3D Repo into other platforms or into other processes. So if you have document management systems or common data environments or asset management systems that you want to integrate with us, please do let us know. You're free to do it yourself, or you can come talk to us about the project and we can advise on how best to do it. We do offer a number of hosting options, so everything that we show today will be in our 3D Repo hosted platform. There's two versions. The one we're showing is the London hosted version. There is one available in Canada as well for some of our clients. They're completely separate, so if you upload one to one, it won't be available in the other, that sort of thing, mainly to do with security and data residency. But if you do have projects that have specific needs, we can upload or spin up versions of 3D Repo on any of the major private cloud hosting platforms, or in really extreme circumstances, it is possible to have an on-premise version of 3D Repo as well. And if that's something you're interested in, please do get in touch. I'll come back to the summary, but for now, I think I'll hand over to Pavel to do the live demo. As I said earlier, if there are any questions, please do let us know in the questions panel in GoToWebinar, and we'll come back to them when we can.
Okay, right. So thanks, Andrew. Hello, this is Pavel speaking, and I will show you all features 3D Repo has now in a couple of minutes. And yeah, the aim is to give you a brief overview of what 3D Repo can do. And if you have any questions after that, then there will be questions after the presentation. And also, if you are interested in using 3Repo, just go to 3repo.com and sign up. It's as easy as that. You can open a free account and try all 3Repo features for free. And you can even invite up to 5 collaborators, so you can really try if 3Repo can work and help you with your project. So, and for this demo, I will use a model from the project of University of Sheffield. And what we can see now in the viewer, in the main 3Repo viewer based on Unity, is the campus. These colored blocks are the campus buildings. And then there is also a bit of the context model, and what we can see on the background are the map tiles from OpenStreetMaps, which you can get by default, and we also integrated with here maps, which can give you a little bit more options about the live traffic data as well. So we can see, there's a bit of a traffic jam nearby the university. And so these are just the representations of the actual buildings, actual objects. So if I go and click on one of them, metadata card pops up, and there's a hyperlink which opens the new tab and loads the fully federated model, which I already done to save some time. And yeah, this is the full federated model of one of the buildings in the campus. And these models consist of number of, the federation consists of number of models. If we switch off, for example, the architectural part, we will see the full extent and full resolution of the model, where we can see that there's a lot of detail, and all of this can run in a web browser. And so you don't need to install anything else. So if you use Chrome and Firefox, you are good to go to use 3Repo. And when I zoom in, inside the model, I see there's a lot of detail. There's furniture, MEP models as well, a lot of cable trays, full structural model, everything. And all of this, again, runs in a web browser, and on a good connection, this can load, yeah, within a few seconds, half a minute. Okay, so let's have a look on the features we have in a platform. So the main one, and the first one we have developed, is the issue tracker, which helps you with resolution of any problems, any issues you might have on a project. Every time you save an issue, the camera view is saved with it, so you can be sure that anyone who is collaborating with you on the projects can see exactly what you see. And also you can highlight few objects with an issue if you want to draw someone else's attention to some particular details of the project. When you open the issue, there are a few flags you can change. There's a priority, there's assignment flag, which then you can assign this issue to someone on the project. This list is fully customizable, and you can replace the default values with whatever suits your project. And then you can also change type of this issue. And again, there are a few default fields, and you can add more if you wish to. There's also a due date. So if you want to put a little bit of pressure on some of the members of the team, you can set a due date for the issue and assign it. Then you can also keep commenting on the issue, and every time I changed flag, there's a notification. So I have full audit trail of what has been happening with this issue. Then I can go and write comment with additional screenshot if I want, and submit it in the issue tracker. So instead of sending emails back and forth, downloading models from CDE, we did differently. The model is the central part of the experience, and the conversations are attached to it. So you can be sure that what you see is the latest revision of the model, and the status of the issue is also the very latest. There is no ambiguity no duplication of emails or similar problems. So that this makes the whole process a lot clearer and easier to follow. You can also easily filter issues. If I want to see, let's say, only open issues or issues which are in progress, I can simply go and choose these flags, and immediately I see the content of the card changes. I can also actually let's filter again. Then I can print a report out of this. If I want to prepare for a meeting, for example, I can filter issues just for the open ones and those one in progress. Then if I print the report, 3D opens a new tab in your web browser and shows you the list of your filtered issues, and there are few options you can customize this report. And then you can print it to PDF or on paper if you can't resist printing on paper. Also, you can export and import to and from BCF. This allows you to seamlessly integrate with your existing workflow. And you can also directly link the issue tracker to Power BI, which we created a few nice templates. And what you see here is the Power BI template, which this is a live link to 3D Repo, and then I can explore the issues. I can see all the stats, assignments, there's even the screenshots, so you can have a really good understanding of progress of issue resolution on your project. And yeah, there's also a plus button if you want to create an issue. Just hit the plus button and follow the steps to save it in the issue tracker. Let's have a look on the next card, which is SafetiBase. And this is risk register for 3D Repo. It's very similar to issues in the sense that every time I create a risk, I save the camera view. If I open the risk, there is a similar set of flags. I can assign this risk to someone on the project. There is a screenshot. I can write description. And what is different are the flags for likelihood and consequence of a risk. These are based, all design of the SafetiBase is based on latest PAS 1192 standard. And yeah, you can change mitigated consequence, mitigated likelihood, which then works out automatically level of mitigated risk. And you can continue working on your risks resolution as well. Similarly to issues, you can filter. There are a few ways of you can filter, and you can see also how many risks are mitigated, how many are not, and then you can also print the similarly looking report as we saw just a few seconds earlier. And you can see few markers, few pins in the model. So, for example, if I click on this one, this little exclamation mark, this means that this is a risk with a pin drop in a specific location. And if I click on the pin, a SafetiBase card opens, and then I can see what is this risk referring to. When I change the likelihood or consequence flags, it also updates the color, so I can visually quickly see how many risks or issues are there in a project, and how serious the problems are, or not in a better case. And also you can link the SafetiBase risk register to Power BI for more in-depth dashboards and reporting. Then let's have a quick look on views. Views are just simple bookmarks in your 3D model. You can set them up at the beginning of the project and then refer them as you work with other members of the team. So you can say, you know, I want you to have a look on the section. You can save views with the camera position and also with the clipping planes. I haven't mentioned that there are up to 6 clipping planes in 3D Repo, which are then really easy to set up, move, and adjust. And then you can save them with the view, and also you can set them with an issue. And this allows you to create something like sections or sectional planes in your model. Now let's have a quick look on groups. Andrew mentioned them before. You can create groups either manually, and when you select the group, it highlights the objects in the scene. And you can also create groups based on filters or rules. So, for example, I want to check objects if they meet certain criteria. Every object in this model has metadata. Let me just quickly show you. If I select this little bit of the roof, metadata card pops up, and I can see there is plenty of metadata. To make sense out of the metadata, you can use the Smart Groups feature, which helps you to set different filters, and then you can highlight various objects. In this case, I set filter. I'm looking for all MEP ducts, anything which is IFC type and contains flow. And I want to see all of them which don't contain serial number. This is my data validation exercise, and I want to see which objects don't have all information which was specified in the employee information requirements. So all of these objects don't meet my criteria because there is no serial number, which is something I ask at the beginning of the project. So this is a simple example how you can use Smart Groups for model checking and model validation. This is really easy to use, only a few buttons, and you are good to go. This is also part of our philosophy, what we try to do in 3D Repo. We are developing easy, simple to use tools and make the BIM a lot more accessible, if you like. So let's have a look now on the compare card and 3D diff and 3D clash features, which are, let's have a look on the clash first. Everybody is familiar with the clash detection, and as you know, setting up clash detection might be quite a daunting task. In 3D Repo, it's fairly straightforward. I can just simply select few models in my federation and let them clash to find out what is happening. And in this case, I selected the MEP model and as a base model, and the structural model as the target model, and 3D Repo now works out clashes between those two models or sets of geometries. And unlike other tools, it highlights the clashes themselves. It highlights the places where the clash happens, not just the objects, but exactly the place where it happens. So, for example, I can see we have a clash in this place where my cable trays are clashing with this concrete channel. So I can then flick between my base model and target model, and then see the intersection. And this is obviously a serious clash. I can go back to my issue tracker, create issue, assign it to someone, and hope that this will be resolved with the next revision. So this is how easy it is to set clashes and then report those clashes in issue tracker. We don't generate automatically clash reports. We don't believe that this is really so helpful, because it's easy to automate things, but then you end up with plenty of clashes, hundreds of clashes, let's say, every week, and someone has to go and check them manually. So with automated process, you create a lot of massive report, and someone has to check it manually. And a lot of the clashes are not necessarily important. They are due to maybe bad modeling practices or are not critical. So we leave this decision to user to make sure that only relevant clashes are reported. Okay, so let's have a look now on the 3D diff feature, which highlights changes between revisions. This is really useful tool when you want to see what has changed between the current revision and the last one, especially in a complex model. So here I'm comparing two revisions of this steel and glass canopy, which covers the yard, and some changes are fairly obvious. I can see that these tree-like structures moved, so that's something I could see, let's say, immediately if I know the project well. But then there are more subtle changes which are a lot easier to overlook. Like, for example, dimension of this running beam, this trimmer beam is different now, and those tiny details can be easily overlooked. And also, there is another really subtle mistake. I see there is this one of the triangles, one of the glass triangles, for some reason is now flying above the structure. So there is this obvious modeling mistake, and 3D can highlight it really easily. And yes, I can go back to the issue tracker and report this as a problem. So these are the main features of the issue tracker. Yes, there are also a few buttons on the bottom part of the viewer. When it comes to navigation, we have two modes. Turntable is the default one, and that's the one which I've been using the most at the moment. And if I switch to helicopter, I can fly around the model. It gives me a little bit more control than the turntable. If I want to get closer to objects, I can switch to helicopter mode. So that's it. And there is also a simple measuring tool. If I want to measure distances between objects, it gives me immediate measurements. Okay, so let's have a look now in the team spaces. So this is what you see when you log into 3D Repo. You see number of team spaces with different objects, different projects. And in this case, in our demo account, there's this university project where I can see a few federations and a few models. There is a number of models, and I can create different federations for each one of them for different purpose. So I have one, the main federation, which I just demoed, and then I can have, for example, another federation for data validation. Let's have a quick look on user management. 3D Repo is also secure in terms of encryption and access. And also we can give you really good granular control over who can see what models, and you can give different privileges to the different users. So you can add users easily, and then if you select the project, you can assign a different set of permissions for a user from admin, which means that the user can do pretty much everything, including the user management, through collaborator who can upload, create issues, then commenter can comment on issues, and a viewer is a role for only for people who can only view, and otherwise they can't interact with the model, just see what is happening, but not they can't add more issues or models. Okay, so this concludes the demo. If you have questions, please ask now. And there is also, let me draw attention to our support page, 3repo.com/support, where we have plenty of tutorials, user guides. There's also BIM Forensics section for the Power BI templates and a lot more content, which helps you to get your head around 3D Repo, how it works, and how it can benefit to your project.
So just to kind of summarize things while we're waiting for other questions to come in. So 3D Repo covers all the integration and visualization and all the analysis types that Pavel showed you in clash detection, model differencing, data validation, and non-graphical BIM data. It offers an easy to use interface for all project participants, not just BIM experts. So we want to get the data outside of the kind of core BIM teams. So when we say who is it made for, as we were saying earlier, the answer really is anyone who wants access to the data is the key to it. I think we're kind of guilty of thinking that we should keep all this data within central BIM teams, but using things like 3D Repo, we can get it outside to people who have expertise and knowledge and can feed back into the process, but don't necessarily use the everyday BIM tools that you might talk about. All disciplines across building, civils and infrastructure can add to and access the 3D model. So we really do try and take in as many file types as we can, and we're actually looking now at more into the kind of oil and gas fields as well, as just the traditional ones that we talked about earlier. Instances can be hosted anywhere, so public, private clouds or on-premise servers, not a difference to us, just different pricing models. We use everything that we do is open source apart from a few key parts. So if you go to our GitHub page, the normal parts of the platform like the UI and the database and everything are open source. There are some parts that we keep back to have some IP, but the main reason that we do this is to prevent any vendor lock-in. So everything's stored in open source formats, so it can easily be changed from one system to another. We're not locking you into 3D Repo forever. We understand that technology changes, so especially on large infrastructure projects that might be going on for 10, 20 years and then have to be operated for 100 after that, locking yourself into a system that you're going to use for that whole time just doesn't make sense anymore. So we want to be able to let people come in and out of the system as easily as they want. And the fact that we have open APIs means that we can integrate and manage the projects in a slightly different way. So it means that we can add into any processes that you've currently got going, or any that you might have in the future can be brought in as well. Okay. If you do have any other questions, please do drop us an email at support@3drepo.com. You can also sign up for a free account on our website. So if I just show you where. When you come into our website, if you click the sign up button at the top here, it will take you straight to the platform where you can sign up for a free account. This will get you 500 megabytes of space and allow you to collaborate with up to 5 other people. From there, you can add various licenses to the system. Okay, brilliant. We have recorded this presentation, so we will send out a recording to everyone as long as it's come out okay. And I will also send out a link to the presentation slides that I showed earlier. And if you do have any questions, please drop us an email. Thanks very much. Thanks, Pavel.
Cheers, bye-bye.